Welcome one and all to March Malcontent 2022. Let's get started while I explain the rules, because some of you are probably wondering what's going on. So last year we needed to have pre-qualifiers to determine who got to make it into the tournament. But this year, here's a special treat, we have 64 amiibos. So they all get to compete. All we have to do is just double the size of the tournament. Which, I mean, I guess is a little bit more work. But, I mean, is that not awesome? Unfortunately, we're never going to have 128, so, you know, don't count on it ever happening again. But I'm just glad for what we have. Other bookkeeping things, since we don't have any pre-qualifiers to determine who makes it in, these are just kind of exhibition matches. There's a bunch of new amiibo, and some of you probably want to know what they do and if they're terrible or not. Wow, that hurts. So anyways, to give everybody a chance to, I guess, scope out the competition, we're just putting them all against each other. Everyone's going to have 2 matches. I've already got all of that pre-assigned, so don't worry about that. Wow. Okay, this is going to be a really quick match, I think. As to rule-specific things for the preliminaries, is that we're using a slightly different rule set. Really, the main difference is that there's more stages allowed. Basically, they're the ones that don't have any particular jankiness to them. It's kind of the same reason why I still didn't put on items, because yes, that would be fun. However, some of you probably want to know how the amiibos actually function instead of which ones get the best items. But aside from that, I'm just hoping we all have a great time. On to this specific match, we have Toon against Simon. Simon's already died twice. Getting a kill that'll help him bring it back. Some of you may have noticed that Toon is one of the few amiibo that still has a type that isn't neutral. I haven't gotten rid of those just because some really strong amiibos happen to have a type. So that's something to, I guess, know about when the tournament actually starts, because amiibo with a type advantage do 30% more damage and take 30% less damage against an amiibo that has the disadvantage. Most of the amiibo now are neutral, and whenever any of them get retrained, I make sure that they're neutral. So I guess you can just call it early installment weirdness, I suppose. Eventually we'll weed them all out, but that requires the ones who have the type advantage to be one of the worst ones. Seriously? Up next we have a newcomer, a Charizard amiibo, because we didn't have enough Pokemon trainers. Don't worry, we're going to end up with 4 eventually. Right now I only have Squirtle, Ivysaur, and Charizard, so it's only 3/4 of the full Pokemon trainer potential. And Charizard instantly changing to Squirtle. It's weird because, wow, that is quite the combo. Okay, Charizard is just rocking it. Yeah, I don't remember him doing any of that on me. Anyways, well, yeah, just back to having a whole bunch of Pokemon trainers. They're all going to have different skins. I mean, Smash Brothers won't force that anyway, but they're going to have consistent skin coloration so that you can hopefully tell them apart. But yeah, it's going to be confusing. But with a bigger tournament size, there's less of a chance that they'll be going up against each other, so maybe it'll kind of balance out. Dark Samus, on the other hand, you probably already know about. But if you don't, now's a great time to learn. Ivysaur back throw, killing at the ledge, I guess it does that. Dark Samus not connecting all the hits of the forward air. It's weird because I think it's normally a pretty consistent move. Oh, for anybody who doesn't know about these amiibo, they all have 2100 attack, 2100 defense, and greater auto heal. The idea behind it is that they're going to be really, really, really hard for humans to take out, and for the most part, they really are. Like, your best bet is to fight the Little Mac amiibo and to gimp him off the ledge. But that's really just your best hope. Since they all have the same stats, the stats basically cancel each other out in terms of the amiibos. So effectively, it's just everyone kind of has auto heal. Wow, 2 quick stocks. When everyone's dealing normalized damage, auto heal isn't nearly as noticeable as you'd think. When it's a human fighting them, since they take so little damage, the auto heal makes it really hard to get them in a range where you can kill them. But with the amiibo, it just kind of adds a slight layer of interest. Like, oh, well, you want to stay alive for a long time so that you can heal better. And I suppose it does slightly help amiibo who live longer, and slightly nerfs amiibo who have really long combos, because in the middle of the combo, that takes time and they're going to heal just a little bit. But in my experience of doing this for 3 years now, it doesn't really affect as much as you'd think. Unless, of course, an amiibo goes like 2 minutes without getting touched, then it starts to get noticeable, but usually if you're going 2 minutes without getting touched, you have a pretty sizable advantage anyway. So yeah, this is a stage you probably... There's a small chance that you only watch my videos and never play Smash Brothers. This is the stage you wouldn't normally see in the other tournament setups. Despite all the background things going on, there's a lot to look at, but there isn't anything extremely exciting or like hazardous to watch out for. So this is weird. What are the odds? Both the Dark Samus' matches are right after each other. Didn't notice while setting it up, but I guess it's fine. I considered making every amiibo fight 2 in a row, but I figured that would be kind of samey after a while. Alright, so here we are on Jungle Japes, a very tall stage, with, of course, the Rock. Doesn't really have a name, but people have given it a whole bunch of names. I think Pride Rock's my favorite name that people have named that specific rock. Hope you enjoyed that moment to just enjoy the atmosphere. Snake recovering extremely low, trying a C4 recovery, sticking it to the rock and failing. He didn't even need to do that because it would have just given him more damage and he could have just grabbed the rock. This is the kind of thing you get when you have an amiibo fight. They will do some things that are so amazing that you had never known they were possible, and then you'll see them just like eat a rock. Or in Snake's case, blow up a rock. Wow. And for our next match, we have Little Mac against Fox. Little Mac in the hoodie with the wireframe face and the pink boxing gloves. Because if you get to pick every amiibo skin, why not pick the coolest one you can? And Fox just gets yellow. Sorry, Fox fans. Little Mac avoiding death, ledge-hogging Fox, but I'm pretty sure that was on accident. Ledge-trumping, I mean. Ledge-hogging was taken out ever since Brawl. Well, I guess in Smash 4 they took it out, but like it was in... Brawl was the last game that ledge-hogging was in. Fox getting killed with a KO punch. For those who don't know, KO punch will kill anybody if they're at 30%, and if they're lighter than Bowser, who is the heaviest character, it will kill earlier than that. Fox is one of the lightest characters. He's not the lightest character, but he's very light. So, of course, KO punch is going to kill, even though this stage, it has a name, I'll think of it later. Anyways, this stage has a really tall roof for some reason. Probably because all the sketches take up so much room. Oh, Little Mac brag, but you don't see those too often. Little Mac is loving breaking out of these combos with neutral air. It's a very fast aerial with a tiny hitbox and like no damage. Oh, Little Mac barely makes it up with his magnet hands. You thought that Smash 4 Ganondorf's magnet hands were bad. Little Mac going for some interesting combos. They're definitely technical and hard to land, but they're only doing like 11%. Usually with Little Mac's combos, with his aerials, you try to hit an aerial so that you can hit them with a ground attack. Fox may have just saved Little Mac there. But hey, at least Little Mac has a recovery. I mean, Little Mac, the amiibo, knows how to use his recovery. Oh, another down throw. Little Mac's grab isn't great, and his throws aren't anything to really talk about aside from that they're just not great. However, it is useful in Little Mac specifically because if somebody shields, you can grab them. And they're going to be shielding a lot because you hit like a truck. Then if you start grabbing them, then they're not going to want to shield as much. Because even though his combos don't really lead into anything, it puts them right back at square one. Because you'll hit them away and then they're like, oh, well, do I air dodge or something? And then you get hit by a Little Mac forward smash. Or, of course, with the, I think it was the last update, where they made Little Mac just a little bit, maybe it was 2 updates ago. Anyways, Little Mac got just a little bit better in some really small ways, but he's a little better at breaking shields now. So usually people go for that, because if you break their shield, you can probably kill them, because Little Mac hits like a truck. Little Mac dying to his recovery. Some things never change. War never changes. Alright, next we have Chrom versus Robin. Friend versus friend. Although I do not know all of the lore of Fire Emblem games, but I think, depending on who you marry, they could be related? I'm not entirely sure. I've not played the Fire Emblem games. Well, I did play Fire Emblem Heroes, but that's a little different. That's the mobile game. It's like Fire Emblem Light. And then it got into gacha problems, but that's an entirely different discussion that I'm sure people who are watching a Smash Brothers video don't really care to see. I mean, care to hear. Oh, Robin finally gets a hit, and then Chrom just drags Robin down. For those who don't know, Chrom's up B, if it hits you and you're not over a platform, it basically just kills you. There's a couple of things at play. So, first of all, it is a strong hit. But secondly, in the Smash Ultimate, there is an extra blast zone. Which I know sounds weird. You're like, what are blast zones? Well, those are basically the edges of the screen. Not the edges of the camera you can see right here, but like the box around every stage that determines when you get knocked off the stage. Well, the bottom blast zone makes sense. Fall off an edge, you die, just like in pretty much every platformer game ever. However, in Smash Ultimate, there's an extra one that's a little higher up than the normal blast zone. And, well, basically how it behaves is that if you have downward-facing knockback, you die when you hit it. But since it's higher up than the normal blast zone, it means that oftentimes you will get spiked and you will die, even though if that blast zone weren't there, you could easily have recovered and then lived. So part of that is why Chrom's up B just kills everybody so fast, because it hits them just enough that they almost always hit that downward-facing blast zone. They actually had to fix it when the game first came out, because it used to be even more nuts. Well, Chrom's move, I mean. I believe the move was made and they didn't account for, hey, every stage now has the downward-facing kill you plane even higher than before. And then something interesting about Chrom's ether compared to Ike's is that Ike's has hitboxes all along it, but Chrom's doesn't have it in the middle. So it isn't until he grabs the sword that he has a hitbox. Which does make it a little harder to scoop people up. You can kind of see it just then if you were looking closely. It does make it harder to scoop people, but kind of the idea is that Chrom is supposed to have a worse recovery than Roy. And then the other interesting thing about that move is that at one point I got patched so that his ether kills a lot earlier. Chrom never got that patch, which is pretty fair because I think oh no. Okay. Robin almost just died if Chrom had decided to hold that longer. Because Robin was just gonna shield it, and that's a one-hit kill move. Which I know sounds weird, like, can't any move kill in one hit? Well, I guess, but some moves are so strong, usually because you have to charge them up. For example, Chrom's you have to charge it up for like 12 seconds. That if you hit someone with it once, on most stages, unless they hit a wall or some sort of special scenario, the person's just gonna die. So that's why Warlock Punch isn't a one-hit kill move, because if you're at 0%, you don't die if you're hit by it. However, since it's on Ganondorf, if he's hit you with, I don't know, a couple other moves, then it will kill you. But it's not a one-hit kill because it doesn't always just kill you. But not always, just a large majority of the time. It's weird. There are many things about the Smash community that I would rename if I was given the chance. So here we are on Spiral Mountain. I don't know if many of you have played Banjo-Kazooie. It's actually available on the Nintendo 64 online if you get the online expansion. It's actually kind of cool which details they decided to keep, like the one up on top of Banjo's house. You can see it on the right side of the screen if you look. You don't even have to look closely, you can just kind of see it. It's there. So Robin is not doing a good job of keeping Chrom away right now. Since Robin has a lot of projectiles and Chrom likes to be up in somebody's face, obviously Robin's goal for this match is like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna keep you where your sword can't hit me, but my magical spells can hit you. Oh, got the Levin sword back. You can't use the Levin sword for the dash attack. I know, it would be kind of weird to use. I mean, it would just look even weirder than it already does. Oh, wow. I've never really seen Chroms do that. I'm pretty sure it's not, like, true or anything, but it worked. Up next is Roy versus Terry. Weird fact about the amiibo. I'm not sure if this qualifies as a fact, but something that I've just noticed, is that I think over time they just made them slightly larger. Not like larger than original prints or anything, but amiibo that come out later just happen to be like a third of an inch taller for some reason. It almost feels like they had an imaginary zone of, okay, now you don't want amiibo to be much bigger than this, and then eventually they just decided, whatever. It's fine, it just does mean that when they're all on a shelf, you're like, huh, that's weird. I would have thought that, like, for example, Terry looks honestly like he's 5 inches taller than Roy, but in Smash Brothers it's like, well, he's like, I don't know, slightly taller. It's a little hard to judge, though, because it's not like anybody ever stands up straight in this. Like, I don't know, maybe a couple of them, but usually they're always, like, dashing or ninja running around. So the tragedy of the Terry amiibo with auto heal is that every once in a while it's going to take him out of go mode, which means he won't get to use those moves. I mean, he's winning this round, so I don't think it's going to be that big of a problem for him. And then here's something that I keep forgetting, apparently, is that Power Dunk has a command input. It's the Shoryuken command input. But yeah, you can make a slightly stronger Power Dunk. Oh, Roy lives that. If he had a different recovery, he might not have. But Roy actually has a kind of good recovery just because he has such a fast airspeed. Oh, wow. Killed Terry right as he got the Precious Go. Kind of like how a lot of the time when you kill Cloud, he'll get his limit as he's dying. Yeah, that'll happen to Terry sometimes. playing a little game on the ledge here, just handing it off to each other. And that was like perfect for Terry, because he didn't even have to recover. He could just immediately get into edge guarding. Oh, Roy got a phantom footstool there. So, footstooling was when you literally just jump off your opponent's head. But a phantom footstool happens when you do a footstool, but the opponent is doing some sort of uninterruptible action. Usually you're going to see it when they're using, like, their recovery move. Which, I guess it does make sense. Some recoveries would just be so hard to use if they could get footstooled out of. So I understand why it exists. At the same time, there are many times when I've gone for an intentional footstool, gotten the footstool, but gotten a phantom footstool, and the whole reason I wanted to jump off their head was to kill them instead of me surviving. One of the nice perks about balancing all the amiibos is that you don't have the really stally games. I guess the amiibo tournament community used to have a huge problem where everyone would just stack up everything in defense because it was just better, and then games would take forever because the amiibos had no damage and a whole bunch of defense. And then before auto heal was banned. Like, you can obviously see some people are considering, well, what if they just can't damage me ever? Which makes sense, but it's not exciting to watch. But thankfully, we're not really going to have that problem. Especially when amiibo like Terry just like to smash attack people out of nowhere. Up next is Kirby Classic versus R.O.B Japan. So you're probably confused why both of them have extra additions to their name. I wish I'd planned it this way because it's so convenient. So there's 2 Kirbys and 2 R.O.Bs. Kirby Classic is the Kirby you've seen in the other years. There's going to be 2 Kirby amiibo, Kirby Classic and then Kirby Smash Brothers. And R.O.B has a Japanese printing and an American printing. So just to make it extra confusing, I've switched up the skin color so that Japanese R.O.B is the amiibo with the physical Japanese coloring, but the American in-game coloring. And then American R.O.B has the physical American coloring, but with the Japanese colors of paint. So you may ask, oh, why are there 2 of these specific characters? Well, 2 reasons. First of all, it gets us up to 64, and second of all, they're my favorite characters, and I'm running this, so I get to do what I want. So, in case you haven't picked up, Japanese R.O.B is not the same R.O.B as last year, that R.O.B is the only one who had to get trained twice, but I'm pretty sure he's better now, so hopefully he doesn't have to get trained a 3rd year in a row, because he was sort of my pride and joy. Alright, now with the complexities out of the way, this is a really close game. They just sort of killed each other one after another. R.O.B not going for any follow-up after the down throw. That's kind of weird, but, I mean, these are amiibo. Yeah, these 2 are just, like, hitting each other over and over. I know that's a lot of, like, Smash Brothers, but, like, it's more like a boxing match where they're just beating the crap out of each other. And then R.O.B gets a great spike against Kirby. Kirby could have angled it in and teched it, but I don't think amiibo DI, like, ever. But they're really good at teching. You know, computer advantage and everything. Oh, Kirby getting a spike of his own. If he had gone for 2 spikes, I think he could have gone for a 3rd to kill R.O.B. See, one of the great things... Oh, there's 2! Oh, not going for 3. He should have. It would have been, like, great payback. Also, I just noticed both these characters are gray. It almost feels... It looks kind of like, oh no, I edited the video so the characters don't have any color in them. Except for, like, R.O.B's thrusters and lasers, but... Oh yeah, there's a Minecraft stage in the game. I'll bet at least one of you didn't know that. Yeah, it looks like this. Whole bunch of blocks. Some people on the internet did a huge, well, basically a whole bunch of research to find out where the default splash screens on Minecraft, like which seeds you'd have to generate to get those. I wonder if people would ever bother to do that with these ones you can see in the background. It's possible that maybe they're not pre-generated seeds, like it could be possible that someone at Smash headquarters just built a couple of these stages in Minecraft and took a picture of them. I don't know if they'd like re-render the whole thing or what, but it kind of doesn't look like a three-dimensional background. And I'm sure Minecraft would be fine with it if they just generated like 4 worlds. Oh, Kirby takes it, brings it back after, well, let's be honest, getting wrecked. And next we have Terry versus Snake. I swear there's more amiibos than this, guys. Like, there's like 45 of them you haven't seen. Unless you know, of course, you watched last year. It's just random chance that we got 2 repeats already against each other. But that's what happens when you use completely random stuff like this. So the Snake amiibo usually hasn't been too campy, and if you've ever watched like a professional Snake, they are incredibly campy. Granted, Snake just shot like 3 Nikitas in a row, so that's kind of campy, but not like the obscene levels of camp that you normally see from Snake. Sakurai once said, kind of like during the early release of Ultimate, that one of the things he never got to implement into the game was something to prevent people from camping. I'm honestly really interested to see what that would have been. Maybe we'll see it, maybe we won't. These last, well, basically every Smash game Sakurai's made, he's made it assuming it's going to be the last one. At this point, I don't think Nintendo will ever let there be a final Smash Brothers, but I could see if, like, all the future Smash Brothers are a lot like this, but just with more things added. For example, whenever the next console comes out, whatever that'll be, if they just add like 12 characters, 19 stages, like, I think that would be enough to just sell as its own game. Maybe even bring back the Subspace Emissary, that would be really cool. I mean, that's gotta be like impossible to write, because already there's, I think there's like 90 characters in the game, depending on whether or not you count Echoes and how you count Pokemon Trainer. Oh, Terry dies with his Go Meter. It's a great tragedy. One of the nice things about being an incredibly tiny content creator is I don't need to worry about like the music copyright, because I'm not monetizing my videos, because I'm pretty sure there's like certain viewage thresholds you have to see, and I have not hit those. Maybe one day I will, and I'll have to like turn off the music or something, but until then you guys get to hear it. This is a cool song, it's from A Link to the Past. It's actually the remixed version that they had in Brawl, but I mean, you know, it's a good song. I like it. Oh, Snake thought of the power dunk there. That's kind of weird. Terry cleaned it up with the back air. People have said that Terry's Jab 3 is basically power dunk because you could cancel into it. And at this point, they're kinda right. It's really like, why would you not jab jab power dunk? I don't even remember if I taught the amiibo to do it or not, but he does it, so... Cool thing about the amiibo Snake is that he does know how to C4 recover, you know, sometimes. Terry does not have nearly as good of a recovery. He could have tried using a side B to get back, Not entirely sure why he didn't. Snake has decided to just kick the crap out of Terry. Alright. Well, that ended like a minute faster than I thought.